The ribbons that I'm wearing up here, I'm entitled to 8. I'm not like one of those generals on TV with stuff all over them. The top one, where am I? Top one is Purple Heart. I was wounded in action on the island of Iwo Jima after 20 days. To get a Purple Heart, you have to be hurt by an enemy action. You can't get that because you were in a car wreck or because you cut your finger in the kitchen or somebody else got in a fight with you. You have to have it as a result of an enemy action, and if you die, you get that also. The second one is a World War II medal. I was in World War II. The next one is the Asia Pacific. That means that I was in the Asian theater. It has a star on it. That means I was in one battle. The next one is the Presidential Unit Citation. I was blessed. I was in the battalion and division. These were my guys, and I was there. It was a big deal. I wasn't there for that. I wish you know they're all dead. But I was on the beach and saw them, and it was quite a thrill. It was the biggest thrill of my life. So the President Truman gave us the Presidential Unit Citation, so I proudly wear that. And then the other one is the most proud, my rifle shooting score. In the Marine Corps especially, the rifle's a big deal. I mean, you really have to take care of your rifle. You sleep with it, you keep it real, it's like your girlfriend. You really take care of your rifle. And if they see a speck of dirt on there. One time I was lined up in a parade, and when the officer comes by, you click it down, and you open it up, and I clicked it down, and it cut my thumb, and blood was rushing everywhere. He looked at me and he said, "There's blood on there." And here is my division. This is the division patch. I understand that the military no longer wears patches. I don't know why. But I was in the 5th Marine Division. There were 6 total. So there's a V there for the 5. And then we were called the Spearhead Division, and so there's a spearhead inside of that. Now, every veteran in this room has already spotted me, and they see that I was the lowest rank you can possibly be. And every veteran in here knows, deep in his heart, that he outranks me. And he's wondering, what are you doing? In 2 years, I only got 1 promotion. I didn't do anything wrong. That was because they drafted the men. The men had to be there. And so I wasn't drafted. I was only 17. But they were drafted. They didn't have to pay them. They didn't have a lot of money. And $50 a month is what you got. So almost everybody was not with a lot of stripes. One day the general went down to the motor pool and he got a Jeep for himself. And he drove the Jeep away. Usually he gets a driver. He drove away. He drove out in the country and he got in a ditch. Then he couldn't get the Jeep started again. And the Jeep's sitting in some water. Jeep won't start. The general gets out, looks at the Jeep. What to do? About that time, here come a PFC like me up the other side of the road with another Jeep. And Private gets out of the Jeep and he says, he salutes the general. And he says, is your Jeep stopped, sir? The general says, no. Yours is. On this side, I have what we call the ruptured duct. When you're discharged in World War II, they gave you a little gold pin. It was a little eagle on a gold pin that you wore on your civilian clothes to show that you had been in the military. I guess when we were going home, they didn't want us. This indicates that I'm not on active duty. I guess. Anyway, they sewed this on the system, and we call it the ruptured duct, and that's what that is. It means we had an honorable discharge from being in the service, and everybody got one. We tell a story about a guy, he signed up and went into the military, and as soon as he got there, he started picking up everything. And he'd say, that's not it. This isn't it. They sent him to the sick bay, and he kept doing it. This isn't it. They said, he's crazy. So they sent him to the hospital crazy section, and they decided he was crazy. He just picked up everything. This isn't it. So they gave him a discharge and handed it to him, and he said, this is it. I was with Bishop Fiorenza, the retired retired bishop one day, and he was commenting, he said, seems like a lot of Marines, he buries a lot of Marines, a little bit more Marines. He had a nephew, John Cosmos Farinelli, who was killed on Iwo Jima the same day that I was wounded. I didn't know him. I got to thinking about the similarity between Catholics and Marines. Here we go, you ready? Catholics have Pope, Marines have Commandant. Catholics have clergy, Marines have officers. Catholics have parishioners, Marines have troops. Catholics have incense, Marines have gunpowder. Catholics have a crucifix, Marines have a flag. Catholics have baptism, Marines have boot camp. Catholics have a rosary, Marines have their rifle. Catholics kneel, Marines salute. Catholics go to confession, Marines go to court-martial. Catholics have penance, and the Marines have the brig. Catholics have All Souls Day, Marines have Memorial Day. Catholics have saints, Marines have heroes. Catholics have garments, Marines have uniforms. Catholics have processions, Marines have marches. Catholics have a choir, we have the Marine band. Catholics have the devil, Marines have an enemy. Catholics have hell, Marines have battle. Catholics have heaven, Marines have that discharge. You get this one, Catholics have medals, Marines have medals. On 9/11, some of you may know, the terrorists flew the two planes into the Twin Towers in New York. There were two other planes, as you might know. One was headed for the White House or Congress, and the passengers rebelled, and it crashed in Pennsylvania. That other plane, the fourth plane, did make it through and crashed into the Pentagon. Pentagon, five-sided building, and it crashed into one side. Terrible, terrible damages. Inside the Pentagon, there was a daycare center. And in the daycare center had many infants, and many of them in cribs, and many toddlers. They weren't where the crash came, but they were close, and it was smoky, and it was panic. The daycare supervisor looked around and thought, what in the world am I going to do? How can I possibly do anything? She was in a panic, and the smoke and the fire was close. There was no time to bundle up each kid and take the kid baby out of there. The young Marine came running in and he said, what do you need? And she said, I need some help with these babies and these toddlers. Look at them all. There were over 40. He turned around and he ran out. And she said to herself, well, there we are. We're on our own now. About 3 minutes later, he was back. He had 40 more Marines in tow. They each grabbed a crib with a child, and they carried them out to the parking lot. A little grassy area they found. Then they went back in and got the bigger kids, the toddlers. They took all the cribs and put them in a circle, like circling the wagons out in the Wild West. And then they put the toddlers inside the circle. And then the Marines stayed there, and they walked around that circle and walked around those kids till late in the night, until every family had come and taken their children. That's what your sons can do. Okay, I'm finished now, and I need to salute these other guys because they're all a little ticked off at me anyway. And I'll salute you, and I'll salute them, and you can salute me. I'm going to teach you now. You all ready? Okay. We salute the flag. As you know, we salute a higher officer. We salute a casket. Marines never salute without a cover, so I can't salute. This is my original. It's old. I used to tell my little kids that was a bullet hole. Really a lot. I have to put a cover on because I'm a Marine. Now here's how you do this. Take your hand, hold it straight. Hold it up, straight. All the fingers in line, straight. You got it, straight in line, straight. All straight. Bring it slowly up to your eyebrow. Touch this eyebrow. Touch this eyebrow. Now we don't just let it fade away, we cut it off kind of quick. Cut it. Try again. Up there, ready? Cut it. Now we're going to do it officially. You ready? Everybody, Salute. Cut. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, our meeting is adjourned.